So why am I getting divorced after a year and a half? I got married at 28 and I'm 29 and I'm currently getting a divorce.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about why women choose divorce. Now I put together a few videos of women giving their thoughts and experiences with divorce, and I'll be back at the end of the video to give my thoughts and opinions. But before that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an upload.
And I owe it to you guys to explain to you why I'm getting a divorce, because over 10 million of you guys watched me get married last year across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and a lot other wedding content that I put out. I'm a lifestyle creator, and so, you're gonna see my life, the ups, the downs, all of it. It is just a part of the process. But the reason why I do want to share why I'm getting divorced is because I got married to a narcissist unknowingly, and it was all built upon a lie. And I started talking about this on Threads and on my Twitter account, and I shared some of that to my Instagram stories. And since sharing that, I've gotten hundreds of DMs from women who are in the same situation or who have been in that situation. And so many of them have told me, I'm so grateful that you've been talking about this and that you've been transparent about this, because I didn't have the strength to leave. Now that I'm seeing that you are leaving so soon as well, I'm now inspired to leave. I do want to talk about this specifically when it comes to the narcissistic abuse part, because you don't even realize it's happening to you while it's happening to you. For so many of us, we just didn't even know what was happening while it was happening. I'm going to share as much as I can. And I think it's also important for us to remember that there's a difference between narcissistic personality disorder and having narcissistic traits, okay? Those are two different things. So let's start from the beginning. So in 2020, I met my husband on Hinge, and I was living in New York City at the time, and I was working from home. I was working on Wall Street, and I was pretty isolated. Here comes my husband on Hinge, and he looks great, and he seems like a pretty decent guy, and he really sold himself as like this faith-based guy and like really serious with like really good intentions, and I bought it. Now, he was going to be starting a job on Wall Street as well at a different firm. And I like the fact that he was already in the industry, so he understood my work schedule, because I really did have a demanding schedule. Again, very normal guy, seemingly decent guy. The relationship is good to start. Towards the end of 2020, I started to pick up on the fact that our values weren't really aligned. And especially when it came to faith, there were some things that weren't adding up, right? So I did let him know that, hey, I think we should break up. I think we should part ways, because, we're just not aligned. Now, he accepted it at first, but then he kept trying to message me and get back with me and saying, I really don't understand. I really miss us and all of that. And then he starts to mention the fact that there's a ring fund because, he sees me as his future wife, that he's already gained 14% on. And I remember saying to him, like, I'm sorry, what does that have to do with anything? And so that is an example of, I think it's called love bombing. I am somebody who had a narcissistic parent. So I grew up on gaslighting. I grew up on manipulation. I grew up on love bombing. So that feels familiar to me. I didn't really have the language for what exactly my soon-to-be ex-husband was doing at the time, but now that I do have the language for it, I see it for what it was, right? If you have broken up with somebody, they seemingly accept it, but then they're coming back and they're like, okay, but I have 14% on a ring fund, right? They're trying to like lure you back in, right? They're trying to talk about all these things that they do for you or what they're doing for you to try to lure you back in. Now, I was resistant to his efforts. At the beginning of 2021, I do start a new job, and that job is actually at the firm that he's working at in a different capacity, but we've been broken up. We're still cordial. Now, he's still trying to get back with me. He's inserting himself in a way that's friendly, but like also clearly like he regrets that, we parted ways. Again, I'm focusing on my new job. I'm just focusing on like getting my life together. He does become a source of support for me as I'm in this new job, because he's already familiar with this firm. He knows how to support people, and like he really is just a great friend to have. My birthday's in July, and yes, we're friends, we're not together, but he totally inserted himself into my birthday in a way that was like, you know, I'm her man, got me a cake and everything. And like, I appreciated all of those efforts, because at the end of the day, like, it's great to have somebody who is looking out for you and all those things. But again, I wasn't cognizant of the fact that like boundaries were not in place, right? And this is something that you have to be very aware of as a young woman when you're dealing with these men. Like, if you have broken up with somebody, right, there is no reason why they should still be coming around in that capacity. And if they keep coming around under the guise of friendship, right, because they love and care about you deeply as a friend, you need to be very careful. Because I was very convinced that, okay, he keeps showing up and he's just around because, like, you know, he just cares deeply about me and he just wants to be the person that's there for me. Now, despite the fact that we're broken up, anybody who has shown any kind of interest in me, anyone who he knows is interested in me, he's creating obstacles for these people. He would want to spend like every waking moment of the weekend with me, and I just had zero space. This is another sign that you are dealing with a narcissist. They do not give you any space. Keep in mind, the job that I had at this time on Wall Street, I was working at the desk from 6:30 a.m. until roughly about like 6:30 p.m., right? So I'm 12 hours on the desk, Monday to Friday, and every waking minute of the weekend, he would want to spend time with me. I don't really like people like that. I like my space. I do believe that I am an introvert, and I really do need to recharge, especially when I'm in an office setting and when I'm around people for so long. Like, I need like to decompress, right? I'm blessed now that I work from home and I don't need to like recharge as much, but I really needed my space. Now it is fall of 2021, and he is really lobbying, really pushing that we get back together. And he's even convinced another one of my friends that he really loves me, he really sees a future with me, and, you know, for me to give him a chance. He's very, very, very convincing. Like, this man, he could sell you anything. He is really good. He puts on a great show. And even my friend is like, wow, like, I don't know any guy who's ever loved you this much. Like, this man he is so committed. And I'm like, yep, that is true. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give him a chance. We did get back together.
I absolutely went into marriage knowing I was going to become a divorcee. There was no question in my mind. I knew at some point we would get divorced. The only question mark was when. I thought, you know, when I'm 40, maybe I'd get that title. Maybe then I'd earned it, you know, 10 years down the track. Because I think 10 years in a marriage, that's a pretty good innings in this day and age. That's like a good run. Turns out it was just a 3. In the end, that's all we kind of reached our limit with. But, you know, still got the title in the end. And obviously, I don't want to get married ever again. However, double divorcee is a term that I'm living for. Like, that is cunt, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I'm a double divorcee. Bitch, what? That's Slayana. Almost would be worth getting married again for. But as I said, I'm not going to get married again unless it's someone with terrible health, no living other relatives, and a lot of money, in which case inquire within.
I cannot believe that I let somebody abuse me for 3 years, and I'm crying because I'm just so happy. I know it sounds crazy, but like, for the first time in, oh my God, almost like 4 years, I can feel like my heart getting put back together, like from all the pain, because I finally decided to leave. Like, I finally decided, like, I did not deserve to be treated like that at all. And it's just so crazy because I did not think I was gonna get to this point. Like, it's so hard to trust God in the midst of so much pain. But oh my God, like, it's so, like, I can't even explain it. I'm crying because I'm just so excited. But like, I was driving this morning and I could literally feel my heart being like put back together, like stitched back together. Like, it's such a wild concept, but it's like, wow, like, God really does have a plan, and he knows the answer, and it is going to work out like day by day. It just takes a little bit longer. than you want it to, but it's just, I will, oh my God, anybody that is struggling and their partner is not making the effort and showing them unconditional love, leave, because you are going to be so much happier without that person, because it's not normal to be with somebody who doesn't make you a better person, who doesn't make you enjoy life. Like, that's what having a partner is. But I just share that with you because it's exciting, it's growth, and a lot of people have followed me on like my divorce journey on here. So yeah, just wanted to share.
These are stories women have shared in private conversations, support groups, and quiet moments after everything fell apart. People often ask one question: why did she divorce her husband? What they rarely ask is, how long did she endure before she left? Divorce is not usually impulsive. According to the women who lived it, it's slow, painful, and deeply considered. Today, I'm sharing their voices, not to attack men, not to glorify divorce, but to explain why, for many women, leaving became the only way to survive. One woman described her marriage this way: he never hurt me, he just never noticed me. She said she could cry next to her husband while he stared at his phone. Over time, she stopped sharing, stopped asking, stopped hoping. She explained that emotional neglect doesn't leave visible scars. She tried counseling, she planned date nights, she communicated clearly, nothing changed. What finally broke wasn't her anger. It was the realization that she felt lonelier married than she ever did alone. Another woman said people told her she was lucky. He doesn't hit you, they said. But she explained that words can slowly dismantle a person. She was called dramatic, too sensitive, crazy. Every argument ended with her apologizing for emotions she didn't create. She described walking on eggshells and shrinking herself to keep the peace. The moment she decided to leave, it was when her children asked, "Why does dad talk to you like that?" She realized staying was teaching her children the wrong definition of love. Many women describe betrayal as more than just cheating. They describe the lying afterward, the gaslighting, the blame shifting. One woman said she tried to rebuild trust while constantly doubting herself. She checked phones, tracked locations, lost sleep. She said love should not feel like surveillance. Eventually, she admitted she wasn't healing. She was policing, and she didn't want that life. Another common reason women shared was exhaustion. They were married but felt like single parents. They carried the mental load, schedules, meals, appointments, emotions. When they asked for help, they were caught nagging. When they stopped asking, they were accused of shutting down. One woman said something striking: divorce meant less work, not more. That realization came with grief and relief. Several women described losing themselves in marriage. Their dreams became inconvenient, their growth felt threatening. They were loved only when they stayed small. One woman said divorce wasn't about leaving her husband, it was about finding herself again. Across these stories, similar phrases kept appearing. I stayed longer than I should have. I tried harder than he did. I kept hoping things would change. I chose myself when no one else did. These women didn't divorce because they were weak. They divorced because they reached the limit of self-abandonment. They left after conversations went unheard, after promises stayed empty, after their bodies and minds were exhausted. Divorce, for many, was not the first choice, but the last one. So before asking why she left, consider how much she endured. That's it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an upload. And I'll see you in the next one.